Hi, Kate. Thanks for coming in today. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that. How's your morning been so far?
It's been a little bit stressful. I'm kind of nervous about the holidays coming up now that it's almost December.
Yeah, I know it's coming in quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like catching up with me too. I haven't done any of my holiday shopping. What, if you want to just jump right into it, what's stressing you out about the holidays?
My parents are recently divorced, and it's hard to schedule around both of them to make sure that the other one doesn't really feel left out, and that I spend enough time with both of them.
Yeah, I see how that could be hard for someone, especially like a young person too.
Yeah.
Like, and it's recent, so it's something that are you like, is it hard getting adjusted to that?
Um, it is still. I mean, we never really celebrated Christmas together as a family, but now I feel because I'm a young adult, there's a lot more pressure on me to make the plans. And so that has been an adjustment because before, obviously, my parents would make the plans.
So you feel like you are kind of the one holding the two ropes together and trying to keep everyone connected?
Absolutely, yeah.
And how does that make you feel, being
Hmm.
that person?
I feel like sometimes it puts a lot of pressure on me, and I feel like I'm almost a parent to my parents, especially when I am with them and they start talking negatively about each other. I would just like to kind of be still the child, but I know that's not how they see me anymore.
Yeah. And you'd like to still feel like a kid on Christmas
Yeah,
and come down
exactly.
in the morning and get all your stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it just kind of feels like, does it feel like it's like a chore? Is that what you're feeling?
A little bit, yeah. I feel like it's an expectation and a chore, and if I don't make the plans to how they want, they get upset with me. But I have a lot to juggle as a person who is navigating their own life. And I feel that the pressure is on me to kind of accommodate them, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. That must be really hard for you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And have you kind of talked to your parents about how that makes you feel at all?
Um, I do talk to my mom, and I don't think she understands, and she gets very defensive
Mm-hmm.
that she's alone and that I should come and see her. And that it's a long drive, even though I don't drive, but I still will take transit for several hours to go see her. And she won't necessarily drive to see me, so that can kind of be frustrating. And my dad, I don't know if he gets it. And I think that he does try more to work around my schedule. Like, he will come and see me, which is really nice. But there's the added pressure during the holidays because they both want all of my time.
Right. And you're just one person, so it's
Exactly.
hard. You can't split in half and have
No.
your legs one way and your top half the other way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really hard. That's really
Yeah.
difficult. How how do you think it makes have you thought about how, like, for example, like your dad feels about Christmas and how he feels about trying to spend the time with you?
I think my dad has a more positive view on it than my mom does. I think my dad is more just excited. And he wants to spend the time with me. I just don't think he understands to an extent how I'm trying to juggle everything. And I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he does get jealous if I say, "Oh, I'm with mom now." They both kind of do if I'm with the other parent. But I think in terms of like the fact that it's a holiday, I think he's just more. It's not about it's Christmas with a big emphasis on the holiday. It's more of like it's a great excuse to see me.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because you're how old now?
I'm 24.
24. So almost kind of like that Christmas spirit is kind of dwindling.
Yeah,
You're an adult now and you're trying to just like figure out your life.
exactly.
And that can be very difficult for someone
Mhm.
who might have had like a challenging upbringing and just
Yeah,
wants to experience the Christmas spirit.
exactly.
And so your dad is excited to see you,
Yes.
which that's a positive outlook, right?
Yeah.
You know, like is that's a positive thing. Like he's excited to see you, to spend the time with you, um, wherever chance he can get, right?
Mhm.
How is your mom feeling about that? What's kind of like her point of view?
In terms of seeing her, I think there's a lot of emphasis on Christmas because that was always a big deal to her. The holiday and spending time together is really important. And I think that she is excited to see me in her own way. But I know that she gets jealous that my dad wants to see me too. Although she tries to play it off as, no, it's important, you have to see him as well. I think there is underlying jealousy of like, oh, you're with dad, or kind of expecting our visit to go bad because me and my dad didn't always have a good relationship. So I think she always has a negative connotation to it of like, if I say, oh, I'm with dad and, we had dinner, to be like, oh, I hope it was okay, kind of insinuating that it must have been a negative experience. And oftentimes it's not, it's a positive one.
When she insinuates that it's a negative experience and kind of makes those assumptions, what kind of goes on in your mind?
I kind of get frustrated because I feel guilty for having a good time with him, as if I'm not supposed to, as if I'm supposed to have a terrible time or feel anxious, which is, it used to be the case when I was a teenager. We did not really see eye to eye, me and my dad, but now that I'm an adult and I can set my own boundaries, we actually have a lot in common and we have a good time together. And so when she says that, it kind of makes me feel like a little kid that I can't really make my own judgment on how my relationship is with my dad, that it's like based on her perception and how it should be, that it hasn't changed.
Right. Because she has her mindset
Yeah,
of what your dad is, but and isn't open to the idea that you have your own mindset too.
exactly.
Right? And that can be very hard for someone who's, like you said, like trying to hold
Yeah.
two ropes when seems like one rope is burning and the other one is
Yeah,
just holding there with his arms open, trying to get as much time with you as he can,
exactly.
right? And so in these kind of like stressful holiday times
Hmm.
and where you're feeling all this pressure on both sides, what are some ways that you go to kind of like relieve that stress?
Yeah, well, one example is this weekend. I helped one of my best friends decorate her apartment for Christmas and decorate the tree. And growing up, that was a really stressful experience for me. My parents would always fight about the tree, and it would always end up in like screaming. And it was just, I would just decorate the tree by myself, or it was just a very, very, very stressful experience. So I kind of, in a way, trying to make my new memories and just kind of reminding myself that, my life is really just beginning and I can make my own new memories. That was just a slice of my life. And
Yeah.
so doing that and having plans with my boyfriend has really, really helped to kind of alleviate that stress because it gives me something to look forward to.
And that's a really good thing to do. You're
Hmm.
finding these alternatives. You are kind of paving your own road in a
Yeah.
sense, right? And that's awesome to hear. That's awesome that you have these like alternative methods of finding some happiness during a
Thank
stressful
you.
time. That's really good. What are some challenges that might get in the way of pursuing those alternate?
Just time and schedules. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like as an adult, I've realized how difficult it is, and I've heard people always talk about this, and I never really experienced it until the past couple of years of just you want to spend all your time with your loved ones, and everybody just has such busy schedules and different schedules, whether they're in school or they're working. And as a nurse, I work a lot of shifts and like shift work, so it'll be like 12 hours out of my day. So it makes it kind of hard for me to be able to connect with people as much as I would like to. And that kind of is stressful in itself, kind of like comparing calendars and then a little bit of disappointment if it doesn't work out the way you want it to.
Yeah, I understand the feeling of having an awkward schedule that you're trying
Yeah,
to plan everything around, and your friends work this day and you don't.
exactly.
You know, you work weekends, they
Hmm.
don't. So trying to just make time for everyone can
Yes.
be super stressful, and I can understand a piece of that. Um, are there any kind of like what's the way that you can see this holiday season going? What are you kind of looking at and preparing for?
Um, I don't think I really have an expectation. I used to have expectations and I used to get myself so excited and then I would often, it sounds silly, but I would get disappointed because I think I had this perfect image of Christmas in my head and then it really didn't match up. And I think so this holiday season, I think I'm just really focusing on enjoying the little things, as cheesy as that sounds, but like for example, like just being able to decorate a tree with my best friend, like that was such a special memory. And it was just like a mundane thing.
Hmm.
But to me, that was like really special. Just focusing on the fact that I got to spend time with my friends and my boyfriend, even if we're just going for a drive or going to look at Christmas lights. I think just appreciating the little things and not making a big deal out of the fact that it is Christmas and just taking it for what it is, whatever it may be.
That's awesome. That's really brings a little bit of Christmas spirit into my heart a little bit,
Yeah.
hearing that you have such a positive outlook on things
Yeah.
when because of the negative situation that you're in, you could be experiencing it negatively, but
Yeah.
seeing that you have a positive outlook and that you're looking forward to things is really good to see,
Yeah.
like that's a good reassurance that you are sticking to it and you're gonna get through it and you're gonna be all right.
Thank you.
It's like 1 week a year that
Yeah.
is just like a stressful time for everybody. I know that, but for you in particular, like that is a very stressful situation. Um, what what's the timeline? How many days are you planning on spending with each parent?
Oh, I don't even know. I think whatever works. Me and my mom usually always spend Christmas Eve together, so I want to keep that tradition. And honestly, it just kind of is not really planned at the moment. I'm just trying to get through exams and school, then I'll be able to really sit down and be like, okay, now I have this time
Hmm.
off, and it's good because my dad is kind of a last minute person. So if I woke up one morning and was like, do you want to have dinner tonight? He'd definitely be okay to do that. My mom needs a little bit more planning, so that's why I already know that, okay, Christmas Eve is dedicated to my mom because she likes to have her schedule, whereas my dad is last minute. So that's kind of nice. So I can kind of just be like, whatever works for me, he'll be okay with.
Yeah, and that's good. And is that because he is just naturally a last minute person, or is he
Yeah.
just like, whatever you've got going on, I'll make sure I'm there for you when you need it?
I think there's a sense of both. Like even when he was working, he would like leave work if he wanted to like spend time with me. So I think that that's just his personality in terms of being a last minute kind of guy because he is in all aspects of his life, but also in wanting to spend time with me, which is really really nice feeling.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's a great feeling that,
Yeah,
like he, despite whatever hardships you might have had, he wants to be there for you and he wants to
exactly.
support you and he wants to be your dad no matter what that
Yeah,
looks like, what that might have to do, what he might have to do. He might have to go and drive for a couple hours to
yeah,
see you, but he's happy to do that
yeah,
because he gets to spend time with you. And
exactly.
that's really something, not there's not a lot of people that can say that
Yeah,
have that opportunity. And
thank
so,
you.
like, good on you and good on him for being that person and being there for you.
Yeah,
That's
thank
something
you.
that, you should feel proud of that you have a dad who does that.
Yeah, I do.
That's
It's a
awesome.
weird feeling because it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
It's only been the past couple of years as an adult because before we definitely did not have a good relationship, or a relationship at all. We spent no time together, and we did spend time together. It was usually really tense, and we'd be fighting, and I'd be crying, and I was so dramatic. But so it's really nice to have that realization now as an adult, and it's something I'm still getting used to, and I almost don't quite believe it if that makes sense. Like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't really believe that he wants to spend all this time with me because he really did not when I was a kid. But I just think he didn't know how to show it. And now he knows how to show it. So that's really nice.
it's probably easier for him to relate to an adult than to a little kid, right?
Absolutely.
Some people are like that. Like
Yeah, for sure.
like for me, I sometimes find it easier to talk to a group of 5-year-olds than I do a group of 25-year-olds.
Yeah, for sure.
I can throw a couple one-liners at them and get the whole room laughing. But with 25-year-olds, there's a little bit more judgment.
Absolutely.
But on his end, he's like, you know what, I can talk about whatever he likes to talk about with you, and it's easier.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing to have.
Thank you.
Yeah, and when you see your mom, what are some kind of like pros and cons of seeing your mom?
Pros. Well, we were always super close when I was growing up. So there's still that element of like she was my best friend when I was a kid. And we usually do have a fun time together. But lately I realized we don't have as much in common as I thought we did. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a con. And there's certain things that I want to do with my life that I don't think she necessarily wants for me or agrees with. So that's kind of been a point of like tension because now I'm an adult and I want to see the world and I want to spend time away, and she likes to keep me close. And
Right.
so I think that has been a stressful point for us. Like, even me living in a different city is very, very hard for her. She often compares me to our childhood, like our family friends now, but my childhood best friend and now our family friends, because she lives like literally down the street from her mom and they're always together. So I think she sees that as like the perfect example of how her and I should be, but that's not necessarily where my life is taking me at this moment. Doesn't mean it can't change, but
Hmm.
that's just not what I want, and I feel like it would hold me back from a lot of opportunities, and I think she has a hard time seeing that. So that's definitely kind of a con.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic that you can see what's good for you and that you know what's good for you and
Yeah,
that you're not afraid to kind of take that on and do you and do what you feel like you need to do
yeah,
despite what your mom might be feeling and trying
exactly.
to get from you in a way because it seems like she has sort of like an anxious attachment style
Yeah,
where she feels like she needs to keep you close, otherwise you won't be there anymore. But you are comfortable and fine saying, "Listen, mom, I'm just over here.
yeah,
Like I'm in a different city. I'm living my life. I don't love you any less.
no,
I
exactly.
text you whenever you need me to text you. Like I am here. We talk. It's okay." And like
Yeah,
it's good for you to kind of take that time to recognize that within yourself because
hmm,
that's again something that not all people can do, and so it's
yeah.
good on you to be able to do that. That's something
Thank
you should
you,
feel proud of.
thank you.
Yeah. And so like kind of to not wrap it all up because we're not wrapping gifts yet, but what do you what are you thinking about going forward? If like let's say for the next week, kind of to prep before holiday season, get December going, what's kind of a goal that you have for yourself?
Um, I think a goal is, well, firstly, I can't really get excited yet about the holidays because I really have to focus on exams.
Hmm.
But I think it's a nice little light at the end of the tunnel for me, and just reminding myself, like, oh, in a couple of short weeks, like, I'll be done with school for the semester, I'll have some time off of work. So I think the goal for me right now moving forward is just to kind of keep myself chill and to take things as they come, and in terms of my parents and trying to schedule it as best as I can, but also not putting too much pressure on myself right now while I'm dealing with exams, and kind of leaving that a little bit later just because I don't want to overwhelm myself. And I think that's my biggest goal right now, coming into the holiday season, coming into exam season, dealing with my parents, just not overwhelming myself and taking things one step at a time because it'll all work out. Or I know it will.
Exactly. Yeah, and it will. It'll all
Yeah.
work out. You seem like a very smart person. You seem like you got a great head on your shoulders.
Thank you.
I think you've got a good goal. You've got some good self-care strategies like we
Yeah.
talked about earlier. I think you've got it. I think this Christmas season's going to be a blast. I think this exam season's going to be a blast. And I think that
Thank you.
you are going to succeed and you are going to see both your parents and it's going to be a great time and it might be a little stressful. You know what? That's okay. Stress
Yeah.
is natural. It's natural to feel stress because that means that you have your heart connected to things and that means that you care about things.
Exactly.
So I think now, like, you've got your goal, you've got your strategies, your alternatives, everything. I think you've got it. And I think next time I see you, it'll be after the Christmas season, and you can tell me all about it and how it went, because
Sounds
I'm
good.
excited for you.
Thank you so much for listening.
Absolutely, that's what I'm here for. I want you to have a great day, all right?
Okay,
Awesome. All right, bye bye.
bye.